Welcome back, everybody. Today's deep dive is all about ArcBlock
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
and the future of AI and dApps. We're taking a look at some excerpts from one of their promotional pieces,
Okay.
and they paint a pretty interesting picture, like
Mm.
powerful AI, affordable AI, accessible AI, not controlled by, the big guys,
Right.
and that anyone can use.
Interesting.
But the thing that really caught my eye
Yeah.
was this concept of gas-free transactions.
Yeah.
So is this the holy grail for developers and users alike?
It definitely has the potential to be a game changer. One of the biggest hurdles right now to blockchain adoption, especially when you're talking about something as complex as AI, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Like, it costs money every time you want to do
You
something.
talk about gas fees.
Yeah, the
So,
gas fees, right. Every
yeah.
time you interact with the blockchain, it costs you, it's like a fee.
Right.
And that can get really expensive really quickly, especially for developers and users who need to make a lot of small transactions.
So ArcBlock is saying, forget the gas. How do they do that?
Well,
The source material mentions something called Layer 1 blockchain. What's so special about their Layer 1?
their layer one is designed from the ground up to eliminate those gas fees, and they do that through a system called staking. So instead of paying for each transaction, users can stake a small amount of their ABT tokens, which are ArcBlock's tokens. And it's kind of like paying a membership fee, right?
Yeah, like up front.
That covers all your transactions for a period of time.
Okay, so you stake a little bit, and then you can transact freely. That sounds pretty appealing, especially if you're a developer building a dApp that requires a lot of back and forth, a lot of microtransactions.
Absolutely. And it makes it much more affordable for those developers to actually build and deploy their sophisticated applications. And for users, it just makes it a lot easier to interact with dApps. So they don't have to worry about transaction costs all the time.
Right, it almost sounds too good to be true. But how does it work in practice? Does everyone have to stake their ABT tokens to use the platform?
Well, not necessarily.
Yeah.
One of the really neat things about ArcBlock is that the developers can actually stake ABT on behalf of their users.
Oh, okay.
So you could have dApps out there where the user doesn't even know that a blockchain is running behind the scenes, let alone have to worry about gas fees.
That's really interesting. I like that. It seems like they're thinking about user experience, but I'm curious about the impact on AI development specifically.
Well, think about what goes into building and running AI applications, right? You have to train massive models, constantly feed them new data, and perform tons of computations. And all of these things involve just tons of transactions.
So it gets expensive really fast.
It can.
Hmm.
In a traditional blockchain environment, those gas fees could be prohibitive. But with ArcBlock's gas-free model, they're not there.
Yeah.
So you can do a lot more.
So it's actually feasible then
Yeah.
to develop and deploy really complex AI applications using this platform.
Yeah. Exactly. And this has just huge implications for the future of decentralized AI. It means that developers can really focus on innovating and pushing the boundaries of what's possible without being constrained by costs.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
This is a really different picture than what I had in my mind, of what that decentralized future could look like.
Yeah.
It's not just about these gas-free transactions, though.
Right.
This source material also talks about interoperability.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that ArcBlock can connect to all these different blockchains.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so important, especially in the context of AI?
Interoperability is key because it lets those AI applications tap into a much wider pool of data and resources. Right now, most blockchains are siloed.
Yeah, they don't talk to each other.
Yeah, they don't talk to each other. They don't play nice with each other. If you build an AI application on Ethereum, for example, you're stuck with the data on that blockchain.
Right.
But with ArcBlock, you can connect to Ethereum, Bitcoin, and a bunch of other blockchains, giving your AI access to a huge and diverse amount of information.
So it's kind of like speaking multiple languages. You can communicate with different blockchains, gather information and insights from all of them.
Exactly. And this opens up some really amazing possibilities for building way more powerful and versatile AI applications.
This is really exciting stuff. It does raise some questions, though, like how does ArcBlock ensure the security and stability of its platform with all these different blockchains connecting to it?
That's a great question.
It seems like it could be a little, I don't know.
Well, that's where the staking system comes back into play.
Right.
Remember how I said that staking incentivizes participation?
Yeah.
Well, it also helps to secure the entire network. When those users are staking their ABT tokens, they're basically saying, I trust this platform.
They're vouching for it.
Yeah, I trust this platform. The more tokens that are staked, the more secure the network becomes.
So it's not just about enabling those gas-free transactions, it's a crucial part of ArcBlock's security model.
Exactly. It goes even deeper than that, but we'll have to get into that a little bit later. For now, let's shift gears and talk about user-friendliness and accessibility.
Okay, that sounds like a good place to pick up after a quick break. We'll be right back with more on ArcBlock and the future of decentralized AI.
So one of the things that really sets ArcBlock apart, I think, is its focus on making this technology accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
not just developers and coders. They seem to really get that for decentralized AI to reach its full potential.
Yeah.
It has to be easy to use and understand, even for people who aren't like super tech savvy, you know?
Right. So how do they go about making something as complex as blockchain and AI user-friendly? The
Well,
source material mentions a feature called ArcBridge. What is that all about?
ArcBridge is a really cool piece of technology. It simplifies a lot of those complicated parts of interacting with different blockchains. Remember how we talked about interoperability, how ArcBlock can connect to, all these chains?
Yeah.
Well, ArcBridge is kind of like a universal adapter. It
Yeah.
makes it way easier to transfer assets and data between those blockchains.
Okay, so instead of having to figure out all the technical ins and outs of every different blockchain,
Right.
ArcBridge kind of streamlines it, makes it a lot easier for a normal person.
Exactly. It's kind of like having a universal travel adapter
Oh yeah,
that lets you plug in your stuff no matter where you are in the world.
I see.
ArcBridge takes care of all those technical details so the users can focus on what they want to do, whether it's transferring tokens or accessing data or even just interacting with dApps.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. But what about the AI side of things? We touched on AG earlier, this no-code AI app building platform.
Right.
It's one thing to say, hey, anyone can build AI applications, but how realistic is that for someone who isn't like a coder or a data scientist?
That's a great question, and it's something ArcBlock has definitely thought about, you can tell. They designed AG to be super intuitive, even for, like you said, total beginners. So instead of
Wow.
writing code, you visually build these AI applications by dragging and dropping all these different pre-built modules.
It's almost like those Legos. You get all the different blocks
Yes.
representing all the different functions,
It's a great analogy.
and you can just kind of snap them together and build what you want.
Exactly. And these modules are designed to be super reusable,
Oh, cool.
and they can work with each other. So once you've built something,
Yeah.
you can share it with other people or even combine it with other modules to make even more complex applications.
It sounds really powerful. It means anyone with an idea, a little bit of creativity, can build their own AI-powered dApp without needing a degree.
Exactly. And it really democratizes AI development, opens up a whole world of possibilities. Just imagine teachers building AI tools to personalize learning for their students.
Wow.
Artists creating interactive exhibits that respond to their audience.
That's really cool.
The potential is limitless.
This reminds me of something you were talking about earlier, the importance of user control and ownership of data. How does ArcBlock approach these issues, especially with this whole decentralized AI thing?
That's a core part of their philosophy. ArcBlock really believes that users should have total control over their data, how it's used. Their platform is designed with principles of data privacy and security from the ground up, making sure that users are the ones who choose what data they share, with whom, and for what purpose.
So it's not just about making cool AI, it's about building it in a way that respects users' privacy and independence.
Absolutely. It's all about empowering people, not taking advantage of them. They know that trust is key for people to adopt decentralized AI, and they're really trying to build that trust.
I see the bigger picture. ArcBlock isn't just a blockchain, it's a whole vision for a decentralized future where AI is for everybody and users own their data.
You got it. And they're actually putting that vision into practice with all these features and tools that are meant to make this a reality.
So we've covered user friendliness, the accessibility thing, user control. But what about the tech side? How does ArcBlock handle some of those problems other blockchains have run into, like scalability, for example?
That's a really good question. Scalability has always been a big problem for lots of blockchain projects.
Yeah.
As more people use it, more transactions happen, the whole network gets bogged down, things slow way down.
Right.
But
Okay.
ArcBlock has actually come up with some really creative ways to deal with this.
Oh, okay. Like what makes their scalability approach different?
Remember those layer 2 solutions we talked about before?
Yeah.
The ones that make interoperability possible?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're also a key part of how ArcBlock approaches scalability.
Okay. Remind me how the layer 2 solutions work again. I'm a little fuzzy.
Okay, so think of layer one, the main blockchain, as like the foundation of a house.
Okay.
It's strong and secure, but you can only build so much on top of it. Layer two solutions are like adding more floors to that house. They give you extra space to do more transactions, run more computations, without putting too much stress on the foundation.
Okay, so by moving some of the work to these layer 2 solutions,
Uh-huh.
ArcBlock can do way more transactions without it getting slow or inefficient.
Precisely. It's like having a bunch of checkout lanes at a busy store instead of one giant line.
Yeah.
Things move much faster and smoother.
This all seems really well thought out.
Yeah.
It seems like they've really done their homework, anticipated those challenges of building a decentralized platform.
And that's what makes ArcBlock so interesting to me. They're not just chasing the hype, they're building something that can last, something scalable, and something that people can actually use.
Yeah, this has been a really fascinating look at ArcBlock.
It has.
We've gone from gas-free transactions to interoperability to scalability.
That's a lot.
But there's one thing I'm still curious about. How is ArcBlock actually being used in the real world? Are there any examples of this tech in action?
Absolutely. There are tons of cool use cases already. But we should save those for next time. Stay tuned to hear all about how ArcBlock is being used in industries like supply chains, healthcare, even digital identity.
So we spent a lot of time talking about what ArcBlock is, all the features, how it works, but I'm really curious about what it can actually do in the real world. Like, are there any concrete examples?
Oh, absolutely. ArcBlock's being used across all kinds of industries already. It's really exciting to see how it's being put to work to solve real problems. One area that's particularly interesting is supply chain management.
Oh yeah, supply chains are so complicated and often super opaque. How is ArcBlock helping with that?
Well, blockchain's really good at providing a record of what happened when, and it can't be changed.
Yeah.
That's super valuable for supply chains because now you can track where stuff came from all the way from the beginning to the customer.
So with ArcBlock, you could trace a product, say a coffee bean,
Yeah.
back to the farm it came from, and know for sure it's the real deal.
Exactly. That's huge for fighting counterfeits, making sure things are sourced ethically, and just building trust with consumers. And it's not just about physical stuff. ArcBlock can also track the flow of information that can really help optimize processes and make things more efficient.
So it's about making sure the whole process is transparent and everyone's accountable.
That's the idea.
What other areas is this tech making an impact in?
Healthcare is another exciting area. One of the biggest problems in healthcare is all the data is spread out everywhere. Patient records are in different systems, so doctors and nurses can't easily get a complete picture of someone's medical history.
Right.
It's hard to give the best care that way.
So how does ArcBlock help with that?
Well, ArcBlock can be used to build a secure system where electronic health records can be shared. It's interoperable, meaning different systems can talk to each other. This gives patients more control over their data while also making it easier for doctors to get the info they need.
That sounds like it could completely change how we handle healthcare data. Are there any other examples, other industries where ArcBlock is being used in these really creative ways?
Definitely. We're seeing some really cool stuff happening with digital identity. ArcBlock lets you create self-sovereign digital IDs. That means people have way more control over their personal information online.
That's huge these days with everyone worried about data privacy. Can you explain how these self-sovereign IDs work?
Sure. It's kind of like having a digital passport that you own and control. So instead of your personal info being spread out on different websites and platforms,
Right.
you can keep it safe and secure on the ArcBlock blockchain and decide exactly what you share and with whom.
So it really puts the control back in the hands of the individual.
Exactly. And since these IDs are decentralized, they're much harder to hack or censor.
This has been such an interesting deep dive. We've learned so much about ArcBlock, the technical details, the real-world stuff. What's the biggest thing you're taking away from all of this?
For me, it's the way ArcBlock can make these amazing technologies like blockchain and AI available to everyone. By making it easier to use and understand, they're helping people and communities build their own future.
It's an inspiring idea, and it's really cool to see how ArcBlock is already putting it into action.
And this is just the start. As more developers and users get on board with this tech, I think we'll see even more creative and innovative applications in the future.
Well said. It's been a real pleasure exploring ArcBlock with you. And to all our listeners, if you're interested in the future of decentralized technology, you should definitely check out ArcBlock. That's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for listening.